watching the rise. And I wouldn't say I'm shocked cause I'm hardly surprised. This one's for the ride. This one's for who knew I'd make it, just needed some time. This one's for my wife. Could have left 1,000 times just about my side.
Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Randy Kaye, and I'm the host of the Caught Up Podcast. Today we have BJ Johnson. He is the founder of SFS Athletics here in Arizona. He is a swing coach who has helped many players improve their game over the years. Along with that, the SFS Athletic brand, there are a couple of other programs that fall under that business. One is Around the Dirt, which is a active Facebook group that has over 8,000 members, and it has evolved into a platform for bat and ball sports. He also has another business called Recruit Sheets that allows coaches and programs to create recruiting profiles digitally, easily, and just makes things a little bit easier. BJ, it's always great to see you, man. Thanks for taking the time to catch up.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for the invite.
You got it, man. It was interesting seeing you this weekend out at the field over there at the food truck while I was getting some tacos. We got to chatting a little bit, and as we were sitting there talking, man, I was like, gosh, we should like stop right now or get a camera out and just kind of record this, because I thought we were having a great conversation. And
Right.
it felt informative, and it felt like, kind of the whole reason I started doing this was just to kind of help people, families evolve, or families with this journey. And I felt like the stuff we were talking about was awesome. So thanks for coming on, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So what have you, let's talk about that. So we were talking about the NFCA convention, and you were giving me some feedback on your time there. Give me some thoughts on what you experienced over there in Dallas.
Yeah, so NFCA, it was the first time I attended. And, obviously you hear about this over the years. Once you're kind of in this space, you hear about NFCA and you see images of it, but you don't make time to go. And this year, we were launching the new Around the Dirt platform. And, we were in one of our meetings and we said, you know what, we need to go, and we need to. When you're in the space of just Arizona, you only have a small little group of people who might like an idea or hate an idea. And so we said, you know what, let's go and introduce this platform to experts in our space and see what they think of it. And so we went to NFCA, and I'll tell you, I mean, it really opened my eyes to what we haven't done in Arizona. And I think when we stay in our bubble of Arizona, we get narrow-minded and we don't see the broader picture. And, one of the things I shared with you, while I was out there, and I counted, I think there was 11 people from Arizona that attended this conference of over 4,000 people. I mean, I'm not a math genius, but I think that's 0.000.
It's a low percentage. Yeah.
That's a low percentage, right? So where the majority of athletes that get recruited to, Arizona is one of the hottest places to recruit athletes, yet we are underserved in the greater picture, the national picture of our community. And so what I really learned was there's so much that we don't know. And there's so much information that we should go grab. And we're just underrepresented on a national landscape.
Yeah, I feel like we're all in our own little echo chamber. Like you said, we tend to try to listen to those people that agree with us more than disagree with us, right? Or agree with an idea versus dislike an idea. And I'll be the first to tell you that every year this time, I always think, damn, I got to get out there. And luckily, and I'll just put this out there right now, I was talking to Ramsey the other day, actually yesterday, and he told me that next year they're moving the Queen of Diamonds event, which just happened, to the previous week. So I think the first weekend of December, because of the convention in Las Vegas. So if there was ever a time to go check out the convention, and it's in Las Vegas, I think, per our conversation, right? There seems to be a little bit more than just softball. a little bit of fun going on too, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody puts on a nice little show, and I'm sure in Vegas, some of the brands will put on some really good shows. But I think it's during that time where you could be yourself a little bit and have a cocktail and talk to people you might not have spoken to before. One of the things you realize is, you know, everybody's a normal person. We see everybody on television and we put them on this pedestal, right? And then the next thing you know, you're at the bar, the hotel bar, having a cocktail with them, and you're talking shop, and then you realize some of the same people. And I was talking to the coach at Oklahoma State. We ran into him at a restaurant, and matter of fact, his new hitting coach that he hired came from Cal State Northridge. And Cal State Northridge, my daughter was being committed by. So we kind of like put this all together and gave bro hugs and, oh, we miss you, And so, I mean, it's such a small, it's such a big but small community that that 6 degree of separation is real.
People don't realize how easy it is to, and I tell my coaches this all the time when they're out there kind of trying to hand out the profile sheets or share information about kids at a game. I'm like, just start asking questions. And I promise you, if you've been in this game, you're going to be able to connect the dots with that coach or that program or a player that played there, or this coach was at this place or whatever it may be. So, no, that's a great point. Well, let me ask you this. Who stood out? Like, who had the best booth besides you guys? Like, who had the best booth?
It sometimes people might not have the best design booth, but the content behind what they have is really good. From kind of, when I look at, looking at the SFS brand and our training facility, we hit balls all day, right? So now some of the things that you think about is, okay, we're hitting. What's that next piece? What's that other small element we can add that can level up our athletes? And I looked at a lot of the virtual reality stuff. And I was in the virtual reality booth. I had the little goggles on. I mean, and I'm hitting, right? And it's all about pitch recognition. It was, working on timing. And these are things you can do, whether it's, while you're in between reps or something you can do at home. But that virtual reality, constantly training your brain, is really what we want. Listen, while people are in here training, we can teach you how to swing, right? But there's so much more than just hitting a ball, right?
Right.
Have you ever seen that girl that has the ugliest swing in the world but can still hit a ball, right?
Absolutely.
Her hand-eye coordination is ridiculous, right? And so her swing mechanics might not be good, but she has phenomenal hand-eye coordination. And then that flip side is the girl who has a beautiful swing but can't touch a ball because her hand-eye coordination isn't any good, right? So
no timing.
I think it's all about right. Yeah. So it's all about bringing everything together and giving people more tools than just hitting a ball. So I looked at things like the virtual reality, the mindset. Those are some of the elements that I looked at, that I can bring into the facility. And of course, you have, all the uniforms and equipment companies, new bats that are coming out. All that's kind of cool. But, really what I was looking for is some of the things that I can plus up with the athletes that I work with.
Right. So you went there to promote your business, your Around the Dirt app. And get feedback on that. But then also while you're there, do a little double dipping and see what can I bring home to help my program, help my athletes who train with me get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. As well as I do. I mean, the swing and all that good stuff it's great and everything. But like if the I've heard it called, lots of things, the computer or the 6 inches noodle between your ears or whatever. But if we're not training that piece and we're not kind of building that database of movement or recognition and then reaction, I think it's I mean we know they do this in baseball, but softball's still trying to get there. And I love that. Was there any one particular that because I'm sure there was multiple virtual reality stuff or multiple people out there teaching different mindset things. Was there anything that stood out, like one in particular?
I'm not sure the name. I don't remember the name of them, to be
Yeah,
honest with
it
you. I
went
don't
by
want to
so
lie and
fast.
say
Yeah.
name. Yeah,
Yeah.
it went by so fast. I know that we had a couple calls with some virtual reality companies, and we are going to bring some virtual reality into our facility, and that's something I'm excited about. It's called Win Reality.
Win Reality. Got it. Yep. I know
Yes,
that
Win
one.
Reality.
Okay.
Hmm.
Cool. Did you attend any of the seminars or anything like that? Did you go check any of that stuff out?
I didn't, only because when you go there and you register as a vendor, and this is something I learned, right? You're basically limited on what you could do. And what I learned is you have to, obviously buy up if you want to attend all the conferences. So unfortunately, I didn't know that this year, and actually I got kicked out of a couple different places, whether it was a bar area, event, or a conference, because I just thought we could walk in everywhere. But there's certain stickers that you need in order to go into certain places. And so if you're going to go as a vendor, make sure you plus up, or if you just go as an attendee, make sure you have all the credentials so you can attend everything. And matter of fact, I had to call Corey and Ramsey and try to sneak my way into a couple different events
Yeah.
while I was out there. So luckily I had the hookup.
Just blend in, right? I mean, you could always ask for forgiveness later. Was there anyone in particular that you spoke to, a college coach that was a good experience or a cool experience, or anything you took away from that?
Yeah, there was a lot of coaches, some that I remember, some that I don't. One of the things that I took away was more from the coaches that I had no idea what their school name was, right? They were from, somewhere in the middle of the United States somewhere. And what you learn from them is I don't have the tools or the resources or the reach to, whether it's from a recruiting standpoint, whether it's the knowledge standpoint. And so I'm going to attend, this conference in order to build, some additional knowledge that I need. One of the things, we also had recruit sheets out there as well. And one of the things that we learned with recruit sheets is, when we're talking to these college coaches, is they don't have the same budget as some of these bigger schools to travel outside of a particular geographical area. So having resources, whether it's recruit sheets or sports recruits or whatever the platform that they're using, they really depend on these resources to try to identify talent that's out there. So, and again, that's just me being in Arizona, not knowing, the hardships that some of these smaller schools have. But they're looking for girls in Arizona. That's the big piece I took away was, hey, any girls that you train that aren't committed, send them our way. We need Arizona girls. And, so that was one of the big takeaways that I had. And then, from a junior college standpoint, some of the things that I saw was I saw Scottsdale Community College at the conference. I saw Eastern. Is it Eastern Arizona? Is that what it's called? The junior? Is that a 4 year? Is
Eastern
that
Arizona.
a 2 year? Eastern Arizona. Is that a
I'm
2
not
year or
sure.
4 year?
I'm not. I think I thought it was a 2 year, but I might be wrong.
Yeah. So they were out there as well. And again, what that shows me is that you guys are committed to your program and really learning. So shout out to Scottsdale and Eastern for making the investment going out there. And I also saw ASU, U of A, they attended, but maybe there was more. I just didn't see them.
Oh, for sure. So when it comes to, I meant to ask you this too, when it comes to VR, was there anybody out there promoting, like, because you see all these people doing online pitching lessons and online hitting instruction, like, is that something that you've looked into? Was there any new, like, software or any new breakthroughs on that in that category?
There was not any softwares that I saw out there. I think during COVID, listen, Randy, I think we were all trying to figure out how to make a couple dollars and do, virtual lessons, and not just for the couple dollars, but to help our athletes continue to stay trained up. I didn't see any new technology from a virtual training standpoint. There's a lot of people out there, like a lot of girls that I shouldn't say girls, a lot of women that I see online doing these virtual lessons. Oh, they were out there, like rock stars,
Yeah, I know.
And I never asked them what platforms they use, but I'm sure they would share it. if I ask.
Let's talk about your journey as a hitting instructor. What got you into this, and how'd you get started?
That's a good question. So the story is, I had a small marketing agency, and the marketing agency sold. And when it did, I was at home doing nothing, and my girls were getting into softball, and they said, "Dad, teach me how to hit." And I said, "I don't know anything about softball, but I'll take you to some softball gurus." And so I took them to some local softball gurus, and I saw what they were teaching my kids. And being a former baseball player, and not knowing anything about the softball space, I know about athletic movement and non-athletic movement. And what I saw was a lot of non-athletic movements that were being taught. So I said, you know what, I'm going to teach you how to hit like I know how to hit, right? Not like a baseball or softball player, but like an athlete. So I took my kids. I started working out of the backyard, and you maybe you heard me say this before, but I call my older daughter Catalina. I call her my sacrificial lamb because I messed her all up, right? And I messed her up. And what I found was it wasn't that she couldn't hit a ball. I just didn't know how to teach, right? So then that's when I said, okay, time out. Let me study my swing. Let me study other people's swings, and let me try to come up with an easy to understand way of teaching somebody how to hit between the ages of 8 to 18. So that's when I came up with SFS, a stronger, faster, smarter way of learning how to swing. And so it just started with, my two kids, Catalina and Mia, and then it just evolved from neighborhood kid to neighborhood kid. And then it just got to a point where we went to Jordan Hart's backyard. We went to somebody else's backyard because I got kicked out of my backyard from the HOA, right? So it just kept on evolving from there. And eventually we got the facility.
And what age was that? How old were your girls?
Oh, they were young. They were, 5, 6 years old.
Okay. And when you talk about the easy way, what in your, break that down for me, just simply, we don't have to get in depth, but what's the main couple things?
Yeah, it's funny because, you say listen, I'm not a smart guy, right? So, I tell people I'm more on the autistic side than the artistic side, right? My daughter is the artistic one. And so the easiest way that I look at a swing, when I see a good swing, I see a simple circle, right? It's simply a simple circle.
I've heard you say that.
When I see right. And so that's basically what we teach is a simple circle approach. So simple circle, good posture, figure out how to hit a ball. I mean, it's really that simple. And of course we go into a little bit more depth, but the simplified version of it is a simple circle approach. And matter of fact, we're in the process of doing some online training of teaching athletes the simple circle approach. But it's how you can visualize your swing path. And if you can visualize your swing path, creating a simple circle, when you see something that's not a simple circle, it's probably not a good swing path. So that's really the simplified version of what we do.
I was in a seminar once. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's really 3 key pillars to the simple circle approach: posture, balance, and control. That's it. Yeah, so it's very simple.
Yeah, I was in a seminar once, and this guy was talking, and he's like, "All right, here's there's 2 phases to the swing. First, you get ready, and can anybody guess the second part?" And they're like, and he's like, "You swing." Now, there's obviously more steps to that, but to your point, it's like, and people use that concept or that visual, the Saturn rings, and and when you say simple circle, that's what I think of, the tilt, the Saturn rings, the tilt to get on plane and that good stuff. I hear you say all the time, hit for power. Give me, is it power first, or is it all those things that you said? Does the power come when you do all the things that you're talking about?
Randy, you're getting into our secrets. You're asking the secret.
Yeah.
So here's, all right, I'm gonna give you the truth behind it. Okay. You're the first person to ask that outside of our facility. So, and I don't do a lot of podcasts. So here we go. Here's the truth.
You will after this one. Everybody's gonna want it.
Yeah. everybody's going to win, right? So hitting for power is a marketing slogan. Hitting for power is a marketing slogan. It is, right? Um, at SFS, our three pillars are posture, balance, and control. Control is power. Control is power. Now, if I can teach somebody to have good posture, good balance, and control their barrel, the end result is a hit, which translates into hitting for power. That's what somebody looks at, right? So if I said hitting for control, come to SFS because you can hit for control, right?
Right.
Nobody understands that. Nobody, people wouldn't come, right? But
Right.
control is power, and that's what we teach. So when people look at an SFS athlete, they go, they have a lot of control, but they're not understanding that that control is what we teach, which means, a better increase your chances of having a better outcome, which correlates to power. But hitting for power is a tagline.
I love it.
I'll be honest with you, right? So it's not. Um, there's kids that are born with tremendous quick twitch, which generate power. There's kids that are not born with quick twitch that can't generate power. And so the kids that are born with a natural quick twitch can generate natural power. Kids that come in here that don't have a quick twitch are going to have to go up the street and start working out to gain some power. We can teach you how to have a good swing, how to utilize maybe a little bit more stretch to create just a little bit more power, but your power is going to be built in the gym. You're coming to SF, and that's to your point earlier when you said, I hear you call yourself a swing coach. That's why I call myself a swing coach, is because we're developing what we consider a smooth swing and a controlled swing. So that's what we're teaching in here is a good swing.
Is there, and I agree with all that. I think too, if you're teaching, posture, balance, and control, and you keep them fundamentally good, if they're in the ground and they're solid, they're gonna have more power. And to your point,
yes,
the greater power, the growth power is going to come in the gym. So
yes.
No, I love that, and that's interesting because I've heard that you were a marketing person, or your profession, your prior profession was marketing, and so that's good stuff. And I've noticed that ever since I heard that, I've kind of started putting that stuff together because I see a lot of the stuff that you do on social media, and I'm like, that's I think that's pretty good. Like you're, and we'll talk about this a little later, but your current videos are really good. That you're marketing your camp on. So, but I wanted to ask you, how have you improved as a coach? Like from the day you had Mia and Catalina, like what you said you messed up, Catalina. You said you messed her up. So where did you how has BJ become a better coach? Is there anything that you can put your hat on and go, damn, I was wrong about that, or damn, I wish I wouldn't have taught that, or damn, is there anything like that out there that you feel? Because I can tell you there's some that I do for sure.
I continue to learn today, Randy, right? So
yep.
I don't think the end of my learning is ever done. I take things, they say if you take something directly from somebody, it's stealing. When you take a couple different things, it's research, right? And so I think the evolution of SFS has not necessarily been from just me. The evolution has come when a girl comes in from another instructor, and you go, "That's interesting. Okay, let me kind of steal that. Oh, I like that. Let me continue to steal that." So, but as a chef basically will take a recipe and continue to add some more seasoning and some more herbs, and you kind of make it your own. And that's what I've done with just our approach. Now, remember, SFS isn't a new way of hitting. SFS is simply a simple way to understand how to swing. I probably teach the same thing that every other instructor in the Valley teaches. My terminology is different, And that's pretty much what it is. And now, when I look at videos from when I first started to where the videos have evolved today, just of how the athletes look, I I didn't have the same eye of the swing. Now, here's why. I am at my office at 8 a.m. every day. I don't leave my office until 10 p.m. every day. Now, other people might be on a field at practice from 6 to 8, Tuesday and Thursday. So their exposure to just the swing might be an hour of those 2 hours, 2 days a week. I
Right.
have looked at swings since 2016 for a minimum of 10 hours every day. I'm
Yep.
going to learn something, right?
Yeah.
When you look at your podcast and when your podcast first started versus where your podcasts are today, you just had to get started, right? And
Yeah.
then once you got started, then you're like, okay, I can evolve here, I can evolve there. Now I got a producer, and now man, I'm growing. And then you look at your videos now compared to what they're going to be in a year from now, and you're going to laugh at the video that you and I did today.
I'm gonna be a little embarrassed. Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. That's a great analogy.
Right, but you have to keep going, right? I mean, I look at
Yeah.
some of the girls that I started with, and I'm like, man, you guys must have loved me because I didn't know what I was doing. I did it, right?
Right.
But
Right.
they had trust in me, and
Right.
I believed in what I was doing at the time, and just like everybody else believes in what they're doing, and then they'll
Yeah.
go back and you know. Randy, I look at new coaches and I hear some of the things that they're saying. And I was in their shoes at one time because I had the new mindset, right? And I share this story. Here's a story I share with people. When I was before I had my own marketing agency, I was in corporate America, and I was I got to the executive level really quick. And so I'm in this executive boardroom, and I'm the youngest person in there. I'm in my early 20s at the time. And all these seasoned men were sitting at this round table, and men and women, right? And they were all talking about stuff I really didn't even know about. And so I felt the urge. I was like, I need to say something, right, in this meeting. I had no business saying anything, but I wanted to justify why I was there, right? So I waited for an opportunity, and blah, I don't know. I don't remember what I said, but I said something, right? My boss under the table was hitting my leg, right? And I was like, what's going on, right? And afterwards, he says to me, BJ, it's better to sit there and let them think you're stupid than to open up your mouth and let them know how stupid you really are. Right. And I didn't know that was one of the biggest lessons I learned. And obviously it still sticks with me today. So when I see people that just have to say something just to say something, it reminds me of when I was in that corporate boardroom, or even when I first started. I call it sorry, I'm getting long winded, but, shoot, that's what we're talking. So I call it it's called the 13-year cycle. Here's the 13-year cycle, or the softball cycle. The softball cycle is from 5 to 18 years old. From 5 to 18, that's your 13-year cycle, right? Once your daughter graduates at 18 years old, you realize, man, I wish I would have done this a whole lot better. But you don't realize it until you go through the entire cycle. Does that make sense? And so, I had to experience the cycle to realize what I really didn't know. And that's kind of why I started building the other platforms that I built, because I wish I would have had these other platforms while I was going through my 13-year cycle.
And through that cycle, the challenges and the victories, is that what just keeps you going? Is because to me, I'll tell you this, like at one point, I felt like, and there may be a lot of people disagree with me, but I felt like I was coaching like the New York Yankees. Like I felt like I had everything I needed. I could, pretty much like get the kids I wanted or whatever. And then why would I stop? Like, but like, and on top of that, like just the experience and all that stuff. But to me, like is that why you keep going? Just because you've invested all this time and energy and you love it? And because there's definitely some low spots, man. There's definitely some challenges, right, in doing this. What keeps you going?
I don't have a plan B. I mean, I don't have a plan B, right? I mean,
I've heard people say if you have a plan B, then plan A is really not plan A.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So, yeah,
you're all in.
So I'm all in, right? And I've gotten familiar with this space. I've gotten comfortable with this space. I want to grow within this space. And the hard thing for me is everybody sees, whether it's on the club side or whether on a training side, they see money coming in, but they don't see the money that goes out, right? And so, I wish I could just train athletes. I wish I could just do that. But the problem is there's not a lot of money in this space. And the money that you earn, it goes out. Randy, listen, it costs me $4,000 a month to have a 2,000 square foot building. You know how many balls I have to toss for $4,000?
Does your arm still work?
Man,
I'm telling you, my arm hurts every day. Like I can't lift it up over my shoulder. Yeah.
And so when people see, they don't see, I put out a video a while ago and it was just talking about the cost to run a business, right? A training facility, from the coffee and the water and the toilet paper and the soap and the air freshener. The hair ties, the balls, the nets, the machine, the turf, right? I mean, there's so much that goes into this. So when you come in and you pay $95 for the hour, you're paying $95 to rent the entire facility, which includes everything else. So when you look at it, it's not a whole lot of money because there's a gigantic cost that goes into this, right? And so the big dream is, yes, everybody wants to have a facility, but nobody looks at the hard cost that it costs to just maintain it, right? And you sacrifice a lot doing something like this. You sacrifice time away from your family, time away from your children. You miss games, you miss practices, right? Because you have to train somebody else's kid.
Right.
So we go all in, right? And it's a big sacrifice. So anyway, so to your point of how do you do it, it's definitely challenging. And that's why I looked at creating other platforms that could potentially help me financially. So not just me financially, but I don't have a 401k, right? We're ball tossers. We don't have 401ks. We don't have retirement plans. So we've got to put something together that will help us out long term.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, and you're right. People don't realize what it takes. I mean, I saw your video, and I think you even threw in their toilet paper. I mean, for a while there, you couldn't even get it. But I'll tell you this, we've all talked about, like, we've had opportunities to do stuff and open things up. And I've looked at things and I've given it a lot of thought. But what really scares the crap out of me is just the last COVID thing. Like, even dealing with that, right? Because, I mean, how did you do that? That seemed like it was, a challenge in itself, right? So to me, there's some risks. There's definitely must be some reward. But I mean, I like your. That's an interesting point. There was no plan B, so we're just gonna roll with it.
Yeah.
What's your take on Arizona, man? What's your take on the landscape, the competitiveness? Are we teaching the game? What's your take out there right now?
Well, I'll answer the second part first. Are we teaching the game? And my answer would be no. And here's why I say no, we're not teaching the game, because nobody is investing in additional education to learn the game, right? And so what happens is, as you're going through your 13-year cycle, right? The 10U coach is somebody's parent. And if they haven't gone through the 13-year cycle, all they're doing is regurgitating the same old nonsense that they heard from somebody else, but they haven't experienced anything. And then experienced people like you and I are saying, hey, let's give you guys some experience and some knowledge, but then we get pushback because we're not part of a certain organization. And so it doesn't, we can't even work together. Remember, I started that Arizona Fast Pitch United. the purpose of Arizona Fast Pitch United was to bring us together, and so we can talk about a lot of common interests that we have and how we can work together. It lasted a year. I mean, it might have lasted just that night, because the next night somebody went and stole somebody else's kids, right? So we can't even get along in this space. So my frustration with coaching as a whole, now that I can call myself a seasoned trainer because I've gone through the cycle. Okay. Now that I've gone through the cycle, I wish coaches would get certified and just listen. There's so many coaches that don't even know how to write a damn lineup. You don't even know how to write a lineup. If you can't write a lineup, don't tell me about how somebody can swing if you don't even know how to write a lineup. You understand what I'm saying? So,
100%.
So I wish there was a small certification that coaches would have to have, not just about the game, but about the mindset of these youth athletes that you're training. I see so many girls that are so mentally distraught by the verbal abuse that coaches give these young girls. They just don't know what they don't know. They don't know that they're verbally abusing these young girls.
Right.
And they are. And so, I just wish there was something that we could do in our space that could help coaches, because the leaders in this space, Randy, we're the ones to blame because we're not doing anything to try to improve the game.
Yeah.
That's the honest to God truth. When I said, hey, let's get every coach certified, tournament directors threw hands up and said, if we make every coach get certified, then I wouldn't be able to get certain teams in my tournaments because they wouldn't want to go through the certification process. Well, shame on you, because you should want qualified coaches out there at your tournament.
Right. Wasn't there something years ago, and it may still be in existence, it had to do with kind of certifying coaches. Oh gosh, wish I could remember the name. There was a book about it, and I thought there was something where they were teaching coaches about, like even the smallest things, like the differences between how you can coach a boy and how you can coach, a female.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, there was a book. I talked to a guy a few years, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago about it. But that's an interesting concept. I don't know, man, it's like anything else. Like, I remember years ago, do you remember Valesco? I think he was the Bombers. Anyway, he came to me one day and he said, hey, we need to all sit down as coaches, and we're going to have all of our tryouts on one day. And, if they go to your tryout and they don't make your team, then they got to play in one of your lower teams. Or if they, come to my tryout and then, don't like it, they can't come to your team. And of course, when I was asked that, I was like, why would I do that? Like, because I was feeling pretty good, right? Like, but it kind of reminds me of that. Like, how do we get everyone certified and make it work? I mean, I guess it would just be a requirement by the tournaments.
It's a simple, when you're coaching high school, Randy, and everybody has to take the concussion test.
Oh, great point. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really that simple, right? Coaches, you have to go in there, make sure that you've already taken the concussion test and you're certified. Boom. That's all it is. Right. But I mean, we're trying to overcomplicate it when it can be so simplified.
True. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. What do you think about practice? Are we practicing enough? Are we playing too many games versus practice?
I think there's practice, but there isn't meaningful practice. When I go and I look at a practice there's no practice plan that's put together. There's no structure. The coach can't bend over themselves to even demonstrate how to field the ball, right? So, I mean, there's so many things that are happening in our game, and that's where I say there has to be. We're doing, you're talking about the upcoming camp. We have an upcoming camp, and we have a coach's portion to this as well. There should be, every coach in the Valley should sign up for it, because you should learn how to have a practice plan, how to write a successful practice plan, how to do some certain drills. At 10U, here's kind of what your 10U girls should know. At 12U, here's what they should know. At 14U, here's what they should know. And unfortunately, I think just the desire to want to learn and get more educated in this space is not something that people value. And it's all, and you know, listen, it's only a matter of time before the next hitting person comes into Valley. It's only a matter of time before the next club team comes into Valley, right? And if you aren't continuously educating yourself and continuously marketing and promoting and pushing your brand, you're going to get caught up to.
Right.
And that's what we see. So listen, we are in a world of business, and everybody's going to come and try to take your business. When Randy was at the top, everybody shot to take Randy down. When Corey's at the top, everybody shot to take Corey. When now Rising's where they are, somebody's about to come in and take, go after them as well. It's only a matter of time. I mean, think about that. You were untouchable. And that's what you were saying, right? At that, it felt like it, right?
It's all fake, man. It's good while it's good. And what I've learned is there's highs and lows, and it ebbs and flows. And if you look back 15 years, I mean, you go back to a guy named Blaze Gotti, who was kind of on top with the red and black hotshots. I mean, stuff just goes up and down. And what I'm hoping is I'm on the upward trend. But I mean, it's tough, like you said. I mean, I had somebody tell me once too, when I first started my thing, they were like, man, you got to get 2 or 3 guys you trust that are willing to get up with you every day and fight for what you have, because it is brutal. But I agree with that. But here's the thing. I think, I think people are willing to learn, BJ. I think people are willing to learn how to write a practice plan, or they want, like for us, we try to work with our other coaches. Here's the problem. At 18U, you have shit to deal with every week. At 16U, at 14U, at all the way down. So the trickle down effect. So people spend more time trying to hold their team together. Because here's my thing, dude. And I said this to somebody the other day. I said the problem is it is so easy to manipulate families into whatever it is you want. I got a kid that just left the org the other day because she went to go play for an 18U team. She's a sophomore, which, dude, they're like, well, what do you think about that? I said, well, it depends on where I'm sitting. If I'm that 18U coach that wants that kid, hey, man, why are you playing 16s? Why don't you come see the best? Why don't you come play with the big girls? Why don't you get an extra year of that pressure? If I'm on a really good 16U team, or I'm on that 16U team, I'm going, stay down. So my point is that I feel like we spend every single day fighting, parents and unhappiness, or they don't agree with this, or this coach told them that. I mean, to me, it's that's the hard part. And I think that's where, for me, I wish it would get better, because the game is great. The people in it are amazing, but the other stuff, man, it's old, dude.
So here's my point. My point is, you as a person, and listen, we all watch everybody's journey, right? God has a funny way of forcing you out of one situation and putting you in another one, right? And he's going to make a situation very uncomfortable for you to force you to go somewhere else where you're needed. Because at a certain time, Randy, you were needed here. And now that you've served that, are you needed somewhere else? All I'm saying is that's kind of how we have to look at our space as a whole. My daughter, when Mia was going through the recruiting journey, we were, remember, I was coaching in the Storm organization, and then I had to make a hard decision. Am I going to continue to coach, or am I going to continue to build SFS athletics? And I said, man, as hard as it is to give up coaching, I'm going to have to do that because I feel that I'm needed here. So I went and I pursued building SFS athletics. I wanted to train everybody instead of just coach a team. After that, they brought on another coach in the organization. That coach then said he wanted to go in a different direction. And a couple girls, one that went to your team and my daughter, were asked to leave a team, right? You know the situation I'm talking about? Okay. So when that happened, I didn't want to be part of softball anymore. I said, this is the worst thing. I said, I've done so much for this sport. How are you gonna kind of kick me to the curb? Right. And then I got a call from another coach. That coach said, "Hey, listen, I need an outfielder. I know your daughter's available." I said, "Cool." I actually didn't say cool. I said, "I don't want anything to do with softball. You're going to have to call my daughter." They talked to my daughter. My daughter eventually said, "You know what? Yes, I do want to play. I'll go play for you." Now that my daughter went there, and obviously she got a handful, even two handfuls of scholarships being on that team, and what I learned from that was I thought I was getting rejected. I thought my family was getting rejected, but we were simply getting redirected somewhere else where we were needed. So oftentimes I think when people are in a place of feeling rejected, you're actually getting redirected. So I've learned a lot from this space. And, I thank all the people that do kind of reject me because it forces me to get redirected where I'm really supposed to.
Right. Well, but to your point, man, I ask every day, like, am I supposed to be doing this? And my eyes are open. And the day that I'm not, I hope it's very clear to me. I tell everybody I'll do this until people don't show up anymore. But no, I agree with that, and we always got to be mindful of that. Let me ask you this: over the past few years, do you see clubs working together more or less? I think we may have just talked about it, but in simple terms, like, are we working together enough and well enough?
No, and it's because everybody has a machismo attitude, right? I mean,
Right.
here's the truth that everybody. I think once you realize this is when the light bulb comes on. There's, I don't know, let's say 15 girls that can be on an 18U team, right? But if
Yep.
there's 45 girls out there, not everybody's going to be on that one team. So
Right.
why can't we as club coaches realize, all right, listen, I've got 15, you got that 15, and we got this 15, and hey, let's go battle against each other. Let's go beat each other up, right?
Right.
And sometimes maybe that girl isn't a good fit on my team, not because she can't play, but because maybe I'm too heavy. But let me call Randy up. Randy, I got so and so. She's a third baseman. I know you got a third baseman that's hurt. Can I throw her your way so she can get more playing time?
Right.
I don't see a reason why we can't do that. But and especially if we've got some major organizations that are all good coaches, right? And we all know that we're going to put girls in positions to get recruited. So we're all territorial. Listen, from a hitting standpoint, people talk about me all the time, right? BJ this, BJ that. I'm like, I don't even know who these people are. I don't even know who they are, right? But people are territorial over their coaches, and listen, I think if more people, Randy, can get together and realize that we have to spread the girls out because there's more than just 15 girls in a certain age level, maybe that might help us out.
Yeah. What speaking of that, like within that, if we were to work together, like what do you consider your role in the community as an instructor or an advisor? Because let's be honest, I mean, people bounce stuff off of you. Because
Yeah.
here's my thing. Well, and like this, look, from because you get, and this happens to me. Like I deal with this because I don't do a lot of lessons. I do about 10 or 12 a week. Sometimes I wish I could do more just because it'd be easier to stay home and do stuff, where I do, because I'm pretty fortunate. I do stuff in my backyard, um, like a lot of times you're there for the hour, they're there for the hour. So the general conversations come up. Hey, how's the team? How are you doing? How did you hit? How, and I'm telling you this from experience, it always turns to something negative, or a lot of times, or there's a little gossip. There's a little bit of stuff going around. Like, how do you see your role as an instructor slash advisor slash ear or shoulder? You know what I mean? Someone that has the respect of the player and the family. How do you handle that?
Absolutely. I mean, we hear about everything, but it's not just about the team, right? Sometimes athletes come into our facility and maybe they experience bullying, maybe they experienced family divorce, maybe they experienced a breakup with a boyfriend, maybe they were body shamed, right? I mean, there's so many things that go on outside of this space, and when they come here, they can just take a deep breath, right? And that's it's a safe space, and that's why I don't like the AIA rule of not being able to come to your safe space during high school season, right? And when you can't come to your safe space during high school season, that's when you start seeing this athletes start to separate, and maybe some aren't just comfortable because they're doing things that they're usually not doing. And so anyway, I don't want to go into AIA, but to answer your question a little bit more in depth, athletes come here and I hear a whole lot. When I do hear, hey, my coach is saying, I'll talk about you, Randy. Here we go. When I work with a Randy Kaye athlete, this was in the past. Here's a funny story. I don't think you even know this, but here's a funny story. So Randy you're big on this front foot down early philosophy, right? I never heard of it. I thought it sucked. I was like, what the hell are we doing? I don't like it, right? But the more girls that came in that were telling me Randy's teaching this, I started studying it. And I'm looking at it, and some girls were doing it good, and some girls looked a hot mess. And what I did is I recorded the ones that looked really, really good. And I said, ooh, I like that. I like that. Okay. I like the way, I see that she's trying to do it, but she's doing it well. So let me study.
Right.
And I used to study the front foot down early approach. And then I started doing it on my own, right? And then I started doing it. And then I said, I really like it. Then I added a little salt and pepper in it. And then I started teaching it, right? And so where people think, I go, oh my God, it's stupid. You teach what you know.
Right.
And I taught how I hit, but that's the evolution of learning, right? And that's looking at an athlete and going, ooh, that helps with timing. I'm going to do that because your timing is off more frequently than it is on. So, because I was good with doing a high leg kick doesn't mean that, Susie's going to be good with a high leg kick. But when but when you're used to it, that's what you teach.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
And if you teach a front foot down only, then the girl that does the high knee kick, you look at it and you go, that's stupid and that's dumb. Right? It's just because that's not what you're used to teaching.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so I think from me, when I see athletes come in and they're saying, hey, Randy wants me to do something, or whatever coach that they're working with, what I've learned to start doing is studying why is Randy saying that? Okay, let me look at it. Let me study it. Man, that's actually really good. I'm going to steal it, right? And so then you end up evolving it into your training curriculum, and that's the evolution of trainers.
Right. Well, here's the thing, like, so because you just said it, like, or rather than study it, like. And this goes not just you, but like everybody. Why can't we just pick up the phone and ask, hey, I noticed you're doing this with this guy. You know what I mean? Because, and I know why, because some people either don't know why they're doing it, or they're just, very insecure and don't want to be questioned. I'll tell you right now, I have zero issue having any conversation, which is, because like, I'll tell you this, BJ, like over the years, you bring that up and I tell you that, like, I would tell you, because one of the things I wanted to ask you was, like, what is your relationship with coaches and organizations and organizational heads? Because, for me personally, I feel like there's been a little bit of friction between you and I over the years. And honestly, man, you've been on I have a whole list of podcast guests, and you've been on my list this whole time from day one. Like, I got to talk to BJ because, to me, like, I'm over like I've learned the things that I think I disagreed with you on. To your
Mm-hmm.
exact point, I'm like, you know what? He's not telling you to do that. He's not telling
Mm.
you to swing this way. You're
Mm-hmm.
not doing this other part, which makes
That's
you do
right.
this.
That's
So
right.
it's just they're
That's right.
missing a piece. And to be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you, I feel like you've gotten better. And I'm not anybody, I'm not judging anybody, but just my own
Mm-hmm.
personal, like you've had some people working with you, you've had other athletes come in, and I feel like we're all getting better. So my question with you was like, back to that exact same point as you're disagreeing with what you see, instead of making a judgment on it, like how do you handle that now with that athlete besides just, all that? I don't know why you would have you get your foot down. We're doing it this way. Like, what's the other way? What's the initial direct conversation? Because to me, I feel like that is where all of us can get better. You know, what is your conversation with a player at? Because I'll just tell you this, because I've got a player on my team right now that sees you for hitting, and uh, I know that there has been conversation about, well, are you in the right spot? Are you playing on the right team, or this or that? And then I could take that negatively, but you may be making conversation. I don't know. You maybe care about the kid and you're just asking how things are going. Or, and then I heard, recently that there was even like a really positive conversation. Like, hey, you're in the right spot because A, B, C, and D. So like, I just think the relationship piece, the having a conversation piece for guys like me and you and anybody else, it just needs to improve, man. And I'll just ask you, like, what do you think? I mean, maybe I babbled a little bit, but
Yeah. No, I like those conversations because listen, uh, everybody's always going to want to try to make you and I, or me and whoever, or you and whoever against each other, right? I think
right,
there's more positive conversations than there are negative conversations, right? The negative conversations are probably going to go against philosophy, right? No, no, no. This is the way you should do it, right? Maybe there's those, but when I look at when an athlete says, "Hey, I'm going to go to Randy's team," I say, I think that's a good space for you, right? And if there's a negative conversation, there's never a "I don't like Randy." I don't think there's ever
right,
a "Randy ain't anything," right? So I try to talk well about every coach. Now, there's all um, I've had beef with every coach, right? Every coach has had beef with me, right? I don't care whether it's you, whether it's Corey, whether it's Apple, whether it's Kovasu. I mean, everybody's had something negative to say. But at the end of the
yeah,
day, I think they all know I have worked hard to make sure that this game and athletes on their team are all I've helped to improve everything, especially from an
sure.
around the dirt standpoint, right?
Oh yeah,
When I started around the dirt was not about pushing SFS agenda. Around the dirt was about how do we create a safe space where everybody could promote what they're doing in one platform.
yeah,
So I have helped tournament directors. I have helped teams find players. I have helped families find teams. I have helped. You know, I have. I have created um, with Around the Dirt the first. I think we were the first social media platform, and then a bunch have sprung up since then. But we
yeah,
were the first social media platform to sprout up that gave love to our community. And it wasn't about me, it was about our community. So, so anyway,
yeah. You've
between you and
contributed
I,
huge in that way.
yeah, right. But you and I, Randy, I've got nothing but love for you. I even admitted I stole some of your stuff and learned from you. And that just goes to show that I've been stuck. Even though you owe me some money, though, you owe me like $500.
Do I? For what?
Yes, because when Catalina was on your team and the team, I don't know whether it was tons of years ago, but I was like, Randy, you owe me some money because I didn't get my uniforms.
I remember that. Hey, and I'm going to tell you, I feel like that's where some of the beef started, dude. Like, do you remember? I remember Danny calling me, said he won't give the helmet back. I'm like, whatever, man.
Hey, give me some money. Give me some money
I hear
back.
you. I
Oh,
hear
that
you.
was funny.
No, it's all petty. I honestly, like, when I saw you the other day, I was like, man, I got to talk to this dude. Like, it's time because, you have a great following. I think you're doing great things. Like you said, you've contributed a lot. Let's talk about really quick your since you brought it up, and I meant to get to it, the Around the Dirt, the Facebook group with 8,000 plus followers that is now turned into the app and platform. To tell us about that and where it's going, how it's going, how it came up, all that good stuff.
Kind of the beginning of it was when 43 foot was still around, right? And when 43 foot was still around, the Statman. So then after Statman sold it to Atkins, Tony Atkins.
Yes.
So then Underground Bats, right? So then when that's kind of when I first started getting into this space. And then what I saw, again, being from a marketing standpoint, I saw that his site wasn't built correctly and it started getting infiltrated with all these bots and spam, right? And I told him, I said, listen, you've got to do something quickly before your site just gets overwhelmed with all these bots and spam.
Are you a computer guy?
No, I understand the space, but I'm not a developer. No.
Okay.
So I'm not that geekish. So I saw what it was looking like, and I could forecast, hey, it's not going to look good. And I said, listen, I'm going to go start this other little concept that I have called Around the Dirt, or we can try to do something together. And, they made the decision that they didn't want to do anything. So that's when I just started the little Facebook group. That Facebook group was just me and a couple friends, and we were just talking about the good things that were happening around the community. And then that's when, teams started posting for players and tournament directors started posting all that good stuff. So what started with just me and a couple friends ended up being, like you said, now over 8,000 people that log on a day. As the popularity of Around the Dirt started coming up, I started getting phone calls and emails from people across the country. Hey, can you create an Around the Dirt California, and Around the Dirt Texas, and Around the Dirt Florida, Around the Dirt Colorado? And I was like, you know what? Maybe I can, but not on Facebook. So then I started working over the last 2 years on developing a social media platform specific for bat and ball sports. And that's what the Around the Dirt website is today. And I'm trying to tell you, there's not a lot of people on it. It's hard to pull them off of something that they're comfortable with to another platform. It's change, right? But when you see this, you're going to go, oh my God, it is like, it's crazy. And I'm excited to have everybody go on it. And it's free. It's free. Like, just go on there. It's free.
That's your problem. You need to charge them for it, and then they'll see value.
Well, and I think that's where I got in trouble in the beginning, because I was going to charge them, right? I was like, okay, we're going to charge $3.99. And the reason why we had to charge $3.99, because we don't want bots and spam like the other platform.
Right.
People kind of shun that. Oh, BJ's just trying to make money. No, I'm trying to keep our community safe by charging $3.99. And so I said, okay, listen, you guys think it's about money? It's not about money. It was about protection. Go on there. It's free now. I'll figure out how to monetize on it later. But for now, let's get all 8,000 people over to the Around the Dirt platform, and you'll see how phenomenal it is.
I'm going to check it out. What was the response at NFCA?
They loved it. As a matter of fact, we've got multiple people from across the country that want to be Around the Dirt ambassadors for their particular market area. And we gave it to them, like, take it here, go do it. So we have an ambassadorship. Listen, if anybody wants to be an Around the Dirt ambassador, we have a local ambassador crew that we're looking for as well. So
what does that entail?
It's just going out, promoting the platform, grabbing some content for us for social, and continuing to spread the good word about what the Around the Dirt platform does.
What's the biggest tool, or what's the best part about the platform? in your eyes?
Oh, probably the directory piece, right? We have a whole list of directories. If you go to rounded.com, just create a username. You'll see we have directories on there. So, for example, let's say I'm a parent that moves from Colorado to Arizona. Instead of going on the Facebook page and going, "Hi, my daughter's 14U pitcher. She played for the best team in Colorado. What team should I be looking for?" Right? Now you can go to aroundthedirt.com. Every team in Arizona that registers goes into the directory. I can do a filtered search. I can go, I'm looking for a team in Arizona that's 16U, that's an A classification, and it'll give a list of every team that is registered, right?
Got it. Got it.
For tryout season now, Randy, on the Facebook page, when you post a tryout, it gets lost all in the shuffle, right? Now in tryout season, a team goes, posts their tryout. It's now listed in chronological order. So now you can see on Saturday, here's the 5 tryouts that are available. On Monday, here's the 5 tryouts on Tuesday. So now you don't have to worry about any of that.
That's a good idea. Because I'll be honest, the Facebook pages, dude, I get lost on those things. Like, I don't know if it's because I'm getting old or my eyes don't work as well or my brain's slowed, but like I get lost on that stuff. Can I give you some feedback on that Facebook page?
Yes.
Just quick feedback. Get rid of the anonymous post.
I don't think there is an anonymous anymore.
No, I've seen it, or maybe it's a different one because I always think this, and you can tell me I'm wrong. Dude, I feel like it's whoever owns those websites puts those stupid questions out during the day just to create traffic. Because I can't believe people still fall for that stuff.
I never saw I can tell you from my standpoint on being an administrator of the Around the Dirt platform, the one time when we had a bunch of anonymous ads or posts that were up there, Facebook somehow created an anonymous feature. We as administrators had to go back and turn that feature off. So because we weren't monitoring it, when we saw, we were like, where the heck did this even come from? Right. And then we turned it off once we saw all the mess that was on there. So listen, I mean, I'm doing lessons. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm doing lessons 14 hours a day. I don't even have time to even read the stuff half of the time, right? I just created the platform.
Or better yet, just post, because I know you got the IP address. Post the IP address and let everybody figure out who it is and tell them to stop, posting dumb stuff.
No, we actually saw. I'll be honest with you. We saw the anonymous post was anonymous to the public. It wasn't anonymous to us, so we could see. We could see who was posting that junk, right?
Man.
So, so I mean, that's why when you go and give me a high five and I look at you with a crooked eye, right? I mean, I know who you are, right?
That's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, go check it out. If you, I'll have to check it out. We'll talk about that afterwards. But I'm excited to see it.
Randy, every team in your organization, you should just tell them, go create a profile. It's free. And I'm trying to tell you, and I'll walk you through it, but it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Okay. And then recruit sheets. Give me a quick, quick, not pitch, just tell me about it.
Yeah. So, years ago, I was tasked to do the profile sheets for my daughter's club team, for me as club team. And it was a hot mess, right? I mean, it was one, you have to try to collect all the information from everybody. And then once you collect the information, then you enter it into your, little spreadsheet or your little design that you tried to create. Yeah, template you tried to create. Then the parent said, no, her GPA is 3.7, not 3.5. Then she's 5'6", not 5'4". No, she weighs this much. No, she goes to this high school. No, it was a mess. And then a girl would quit. And then a girl we would add. And then it was just a mess. And I got tired of it. And I said, there's got to be a better way. So I went and did some research. And I said, is there a profile sheet generator that's out there? And there wasn't. So I said, well, shoot, let's get to work. So I went and developed Recruit Sheets, which it's not a recruiting agency. We're not a recruiting agency. We're simply a profile sheet generator platform that will connect you with all of your off-site recruiting platforms. So if you have a sports recruits is a phenomenal, what we call off-site recruiting platform, right? So everything that you do is off-site. And so I think they're just starting to build some on-site features, but for the most part, we're an on-site recruiting platform that allows you to connect with anybody off-site. So it's a pretty cool platform.
Okay. What about like college logos when kids commit? Do you have a spot to upload those?
Yep, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, it's easy. So and it's always updated.
Oh, let's talk about your camp, man. Tell me, you're having a camp. I saw the social media clips. I told you I really enjoyed. I think your videos are really good. I was talking to Gabby yesterday at practice because she helps with Kara when she's home, and she said she was going to help you out. And I thought that's a great thing. You and I both know those camps are not easy to put on. Number one, they take a lot of time. You need to have some resources. Number one, to even start it.
Yeah.
And this is to me the perfect example of everyone looking at, oh my God, look at all the money BJ's making. It ain't the case, man. Like, it ain't the case. And so tell me about the camp, and tell me who's doing your social media, because I like it.
There's a young lady that works here. Her name is Molly Smith, Valdivia now. So,
St. Mary's catcher.
Yes,
back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah. Caught Dallas.
Yeah. I
remember her.
So,
okay.
She caught Dallas.
Dude, really quick. Check this out. Really quick. Mountain Ridge is playing St. Mary's in the playoffs, right? And I can't remember what year. Probably I think Dallas was a sophomore, maybe. And my daughter's at Mountain Ridge. There was Alyssa DeCarlo, Corinne Green, tons of really good kids over there, the Levine kid. And so we go up, and all they had was Dallas and Molly, right? We go up and we bunt. The first kid gets on, third baseman can't cover, runner at one. Next kid comes on, bunts, first and second, third baseman doesn't get there. I'm not shitting you, man. The next two batters got hit right in the chest. And guess what? Nobody bunted the rest of the game. So, and if Dallas ever hears this, and she's on my list too, but if she ever hears this and I'm wrong, I remember it that way. I was like, that's handling business right there.
That's handling business right there.
Right.
That's
so
right.
Anyway,
that's right.
So Molly Smith, I remember her, man.
So here's a funny story about Molly. So I was hiring for another trainer to help me out in here. And so I met Molly at a function I attended for the Hot Shots organization. Mm-hmm. So Molly was like, hey, yes, I'm interested. I'm looking to train. I love working with athletes. I said, cool. I said, well, come on down. So she came on down, and we hit it off instantly. I was like, this is the person that I need. I love her energy, everything about her. I was like, let's go. So, at SFS, we don't just allow anybody to start giving lessons. We have to teach them the SFS philosophy. Once they understand the SFS philosophy, then we allow them to go work with our athletes. So she trained for a couple months, and then we let her out there, and she started doing a really good job. Well, the whole reason I needed her to go work with the athletes is because I had to focus on building the Around the Dirt platform. So I kind of stayed in the office. I'm working on all the stuff that I'm trying to do, all the site mapping, everything. And we had a cancellation. So instead of Molly doing the training, she was sitting in the office with me. And she says, I can do a little bit of marketing. And I was like, no, you don't know how to do this. I know how to do it, right? I know how to do this, right? So anyway, she says, well, I could try. She's kind of with her soft voice. I'll try. Randy, she went out there and did some stuff. I was like, why are you out there training? Why aren't you in here doing all the development? And so, and then, come to find out she was pregnant. So she just had a baby, and it kind of all worked out where, now myself and another young lady that played for you, Shay Lee, we're now doing all the training, and Molly is kind of in the background and doing all the design work and marketing work for Around the Dirt and SFS and Recruit Sheets.
Looks good, man. Looks really good.
Yeah. I wish
All
I could
right.
take credit for it, but no, that's all Molly. That's all Molly.
All good. What let's tell me. So Molly's got the social media. How about the camp? Like what? Tell me a little bit about what you got going on with the camp.
The camp is simply a way that we can give back, right? We have some local athletes that have, really shined and had some big achievements. And I always wanted to, and that's why we didn't do it under an SFS brand, right? I mean, this is an Around the Dirt brand. Get girls from, different organizations and different backgrounds and different schools and bring them together and, try to give back. So, yeah, the cost to put something like this on is very high, especially with
It's high.
6 key
I do it all the
athletes,
time.
right? Yeah, and so we have 3 different portions on it. We have a pitching portion with Caitlin Terry. We have a coach portion, which is where we want to try to educate coaches on how to have better practice plans. And then the third piece is just your hitting, fielding, and speed skill work that we want you to make sure that you get an opportunity to work with the girls on.
Yeah. And when is that?
It's December 28th.
Where? What's the location?
It's in Tempe. It's at an elementary school in Tempe. I forgot the name of it.
I'm sure they could find it on social media when it comes out.
Yeah.
How's it looking? Mm-hmm. Is it filling up pretty fast?
We're slowly getting entries into it. So usually people pull the trigger probably the week of, because they don't have anything else to do. So it's a hard date to do it on because a lot of people are traveling during Christmas. But last year we did it. We had 100 people there. Hopefully we can get the same number this year as well.
Cool. BJ, is there anything else? Any final thoughts you want to give for the audience?
No, I enjoyed talking to you. I know this was a long podcast. Maybe break it out into twos. But,
we're going.
Yeah. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here, talk shop with you. I think we should do it more often. I've learned a lot from you over the years from afar, and listen, I don't have a plan B. Doesn't sound like you do either. So we're going to figure out how we stay in this space to continue to educate the next group that's coming up behind us.
That's right, man. Again, thanks so much for joining. I really appreciated the conversation as well. I was glad we did it. So, all right, I just want to say thanks for listening. We will continue working to elevate the sport and get caught up with those who are influential in the fast pitch community. And hopefully we can help you navigate your softball journey. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Caught Up with Randy Kaye, or at Coach KAZ. You can listen to the audio version of our podcast on Google, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you consume your favorite content. You can also follow us on X and on Instagram using the same handles at Coach KAZ. Thanks again, everyone.
This one's for my wife. Could have left 1,000 times just about my